So here in our semifinal match, once again on the right, we have the team of Dilks, Magalhaes, and Patel. They were the last undefeated team on day 1. They actually had a pretty rough day 2 today, going 3-3 in the Swiss. They did pick up their top 8 match, so now they have just now gotten a winning record on Sunday, but it's carried them through.
Yeah, making the elimination rounds is the hard part, and they even won their first match there.
So Joe Bernal, Grixis, Delver, he's on the play. From them being the 3 seed, they'll be on the play from here on out. You have to like that when you register Delver of Secrets.
Joe Bernal, when he used to play a lot of Legacy, you typically find him on a lot of the non-blue fair decks. It's a change of pace to see him on Grixis Delver.
Yeah, we're going to see right now what this has the potential to be a very strong opening from Matthew. He has Life from the Loam, Exploration, and Mox Opal in the opener. So here is Mox Diamond. Diamond, not Opal. We have... it's a Mox. It taps for mana. Force of Will looks to take care of the Mox Diamond, but this was the test spell.
Force on Mox Diamond is extremely aggressive for Joe.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of spells that you can meaningfully Force of Will in the matchup, to be fair. You also set up so that you can't be punishing fire on turn 1.
Ryan, Matthew just had 2 diamonds. It was really a test spell.
Oh, this is not looking good for Joe. We'll see what the leftovers are, but
yeah,
the exchanges so far have not favored him.
Thespian Stage for Matthew. We're going to actually see what land he wants to discard. He has Tabernacle, Caracas, Dark Depths. Remember that the Deathrite Shaman can eat one of them, so whatever he's discarding, he's letting go.
Yeah. You do have to give the Deathrite Shaman some food, though there's already a Delta in Joe's graveyard.
Watch out here. This is just one of those good hands. Here's Exploration as well from Dilks.
Oh, and we're just
and a Caracas.
We're just casting Life from the Loam as well? No, we don't have 2 green mana.
Only 1 green.
Get that Tabernacle out of there.
Okay, take care of the land. And make True Name Nemesis. Pass, please. Don't win the game here. Oh, Wasteland Dark Depths.
How about a 2020?
2020. Let's do that before your Wasteland untaps. Let's just make a 2020. Here's Merit Lage.
Joe has no main deck Diabolic Edicts.
2020 and make Wasteland and waste away your blue mana source. Okay, game 2.
Yeah.
Well then.
That looked easy. Yeah, that was extremely fast, and the Thespian Stage Dark Depths combo has given lands a lot of these hands. You know, Joe's start was above average for what you want in this matchup. He got to untap with Deathrite Shaman, had the early True Name Nemesis, and then he just lost.
Matthew didn't even cast the Loam.
Yeah, he just had leftovers after that.
Yeah, it was a good 7. Fair enough. So Matthew Dilks up 1-0. Remember last round, both Dilks and Magalhaes picked up the wins. Kind of rescued Patel from a horrible matchup.
Yeah.
He was down 1 game, and in game 2 they reach over and say, you can stop.
He was getting kicked around by Ixalan's Binding, and someone's like, great news. You can stop playing that horrible game.
Looks like we have what is potentially another result here, Amulet and Storm. That one can go fast either way. No one's interacting too much. There's a Bazooka Bog in the main. Yeah. And Matt Hoey takes it.
Yeah, not surprising. Storm has access to more turn 3s.
Oh, yeah. And Hoey's on the play, too. So you just run out of turn 2 Electromancer. Amulet's not going to remove it. And then you turn 3 them.
Yep.
That's
easy.
There are things that at times Edgar's played here. Sometimes there's been some main deck dismembers. When that was more acceptable when Grixis Shadow was a thing, because then at least they were good in more than the Storm matchup.
Right.
Now it's just like, whatever.
Just, it's pretty
gross.
It
happens.
Yeah. And we're probably going to be a bit before we see any results in the Grixis Energy Mirror.
I mean, that one's going to go for... Standard is interesting in this place where it's the slowest of the 3 formats at the moment. So... Ryan, I want to talk about the sideboard of Grixis Delver. Now, you can't really sideboard against what happened that first game. If he just turn 2 makes a 20-20. Can you?
I mean, he has a Pithing Needle in his sideboard.
Okay.
That lines up against Thespian's Stage.
Diabolic Edict,
There
maybe?
is a Price of Progress.
Okay, that's good, but how many?
1.
All right.
2 Surgical Extractions. Wouldn't done anything that game, but they play in the matchup. No Diabolic Edicts. Yeah, the sideboard's
That's not
actually
enough.
kind of light for the lands matchup.
And
Usually like to see at least more Price of Progress or an Edict. Though, to be fair, the lands game plan is a bit diversified, and they're all good against you.
This is the type of thing that 2 years ago I would have expected to see out of the Grixis Delver sideboard, but lands was not as popular 2 years ago, and I think nowadays you'll see most Grixis decks with heavier hate here.
Yes. Yeah, this is just a very popular deck and a very successful deck historically at team opens.
Now, Matthew's sideboard has some interesting things in it. He has the 4 Corrosive Grips, that's pretty stock, but he has a Ramanap Excavator, so you can get. He has Sylvan Safekeepers. He has an Emrakul the Aeon's Turn to prevent milling. He has a Chalice of the Void. There's some nice stuff in here.
Molten Vortex is not bad in this matchup. Deal with Deathrite Shamans, Delver's Secrets, Young Pyromancers. Drop a Honey is actually pretty powerful here as well. That can clean up
for a lot of these
multiple
cards.
threats. Chalice of the Void's not terrible. You cover Surgical, which is one of their better sideboard cards. We have deck lists face up. You know that Joe's not on very much.
Yeah, now is there a risk with lands of over sideboarding? All these things are defensible, but I don't, it's an engine-based deck. You don't want to mess with it too much.
Yeah, you can't really bring out your best pieces, but at the same time, there's enough going on. You need 4 of all of these things. You're playing against wastelands. You don't have to go for a depths combo as aggressively. But it's generally going to be good here. You know that Joe's bringing in a Pithing Needle. You have that. There's a main deck Molten Vortex as well, so plenty of stuff that can deal with the creatures.
Okay.
And for lands, you need a critical mass of things, but a lot of them are just singularly good. Just casting Punishing Fire is just good in the matchup. Molten Vortex is a very good card.
Yeah.
Just wastelanding your opponent is light on mana. That's powerful. Tabernacle is just powerful. So it's not as extreme as a deck like Storm, where you break up your deck by bringing in a bunch of cards. A lot of your stuff's just good on its own.
A lot of this is going to ride on the Grixis energy matchup. The older formats, we have 2 pretty swingy matchups in opposite directions. We're going to keep an eye on Patel versus Tenjum. Post-board, Magalhaes has some game here. It's, and I might say he'll get close to 50-50 post-board, but he's down a game. That's the issue.
Yeah, 50-50 down a game. If those coins just flip the opposite direction, it's bad. There's some Spell Pierces, though. Those are great. You can dismember to buy some time. There's Relics. Yeah, he has a number of cards. Auroric Thar.
If you get one of those into play, Storm has issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of it plays, but he's got to win too.
Yes.
And game 2. Joe on the play again. Going to consult with Matt Hoey here on the keep. One thing about this team, all 3 players very capable of playing the legacy seat.
Yeah. Matt Hoey has a lot of experience with Delver variants as well. Good player to
Yeah,
ask.
originally was a Stoneblade kind of expert. That one, not as much anymore is a thing.
Yes. Stoneford Mystic has gotten quite a bit worse in the legacy format.
Yeah. He has an open championship with Stoneblade.
He's one of those players that has played a good mix of different legacy decks. Which there's plenty of legacy players where you're like, okay.
Caleb Shear.
Yeah, you're playing Storm. Kevin King's probably playing lands.
Might play Grixis.
He's
probably playing lands.
Yeah, he has a bit of a range, to be fair. Jody Keith's playing lands.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for Matt Hoey, he has a bit of a legacy range.
And here we go. Game 2, Tropical Island pass for Joe Bernal. No Delver or Ponder. What are you looking to keep here in this kind of matchup?
Tropical Island is just bad.
Right, right. I'm saying, yeah, this opener, he kept a 7.
Yeah, and it's not casting a Deathrite Shaman.
Looks like drop a honey in Matt's hand.
You could have like a Spell Pierce for potential exploration, and you expose Tropical Island to Wasteland because it's the worst land in your deck.
Here is Mox Diamond from Matthew. Discards Maze of Ith. Now, Ancient Grudge is in Joe's hand. So that'll play here. Go over the Burn Willows. It looks like he'll loam back that Maze of Ith, if Joe allows it. Gotta be careful about your loams in these matchups. That post-board Surgical Extractions are running around. He's exposing it here. And it'll be a Brainstorm from Bernal.
To be looking for something to break this up. The rest of the hand doesn't do it.
He has a Daze he found here if he wants to pick up a land to counter a Loam.
So you can use Daze to counter Loam as a tempo play, but that's usually only winning the games where you're already significantly ahead on the battlefield.
Yeah, he has a Delver of Secrets that he's putting on top there. He's going to let Loam resolve. Maze is back in his hand. And a pass. So now we'll get a crack of a fetch. One of those two Brainstorm cards can be shuffled away.
And the deck is looking for access to red mana for some of the threats, black mana for some of the other threats. And that's why the Tropical Island is particularly bad. It just doesn't cast a number of the spells in your deck.
He's going to grudge away that Mox Diamond right now.
The hope that the lands deck does not have more lands.
Well, Matthew didn't dredge this turn. He just drew Exploration naturally off the top.
That's a powerful one.
Well, what a play. It's going to get dazed.
Okay. That's kind of a win for Joe.
Yeah, did Math? Oh, Math. He does all the other lands in his hand aren't mana producing.
Sure.
He has 2 Dark Depths. Okay, I was wondering, like, why wouldn't you dredge there? It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Your deck's not doing anything. Or, you know, why wouldn't you play a land before the day? They're going for Exploration.
The double depth's not ideal.
He has Glacial Chasm as well.
That one early to the party.
Yeah. Here's Delver of Secrets from Bernal.
And this is interesting. Joe had that Wasteland there. Yeah, just go for that mana source, though. The Maze of Ith is a problem.
Maze of Ith is a problem, but now you have Matthew, someone who, Joe has the correct read, that the reason Matthew didn't dredge, he didn't have a mana-producing land. If that's the read he has, that Wasteland's a very strong play.
And Matthew, of course, draws Sheltered Thicket. This matchup's
he's probably
tough.
going to draw. Yeah, he's going to draw lands. He plays a lot.
I mean, like I like what you're saying. You know, the judgment call makes sense. It's just a testament to how the matchup plays out, where even when you make the right call, you're just very far behind.
Upkeep Brainstorm, Joe wants that to flip. I mean, it'll get Maze of Ith regardless.
Well, this is a main phase Brainstorm, and he's using this to clean up the hand. He has a lot of lands. He needs to shuffle away some garbage.
Yeah, cracks fetch down to 19.
Yeah, Joe and Matt Hoey have been playing Legacy for so long. I would be embarrassed for this team if there were any upkeep Brainstorms. It's like casting Unholy Strength. Let's see what Joe can find. The Deathrite Shaman's fine, though we know that Dilks has been sitting on Drop of Honey.
Yeah, what I like about Deathrite Shaman is, like, you don't know about the Drop of Honey, is that if Matthew misses the land drop this turn, Deathrite Shaman can then start doing things like eating the loam out of the yard.
Yep.
It is strong, but you're right, this Drop of Honey from Dilks is going to do work.
Yeah, pretty easy 2-for-1 on that one, if it resolves.
I believe the drop from Dilks was Ramanap Excavator.
A little bit of ways off of casting that one.
But Drop of Honey is going to start chewing through those creatures. And remember, a transformed Delver still now has converted mana cost 1.
Yes.
Previously, it would have been a 0, but that was a rules change about a year ago. And we'll go back over to Joe Bernal. Top card for Delver is
Price of Progress.
Price, okay. You hate to have to show that to your land's opponent, but you really want to have a 3/2 Delver, so it goes.
Yep.
Big result here, because we care about this matchup a lot. In the Grixis Energy Mirror, Tarek Patel takes game 1 over Andrew Tenjum.
Definitely important for that team.
Yeah, they feel a lot riding on that match.
Joe has avenues to a decent chunk of damage here. I guess the Maze of Ith is going to check that Insect Aberration, though. And Dilks just gets to play the game knowing about the Price of Progress. So it's not clear how much Joe's really going to be able to do here. Now, it's going to take Matthew a bit of time to set up. He has been constrained on lands that actually produce mana. So his deck's not light on that kind of thing. Tough call on the Ponder here. You looked at 3 spells that are all kind of reasonable. We have Brainstorm, Deus, Force of Will. Well, this is a matchup where a lot of what's happening you can't disrupt on the stack. The days and the force of will, they only matter somewhat.
Draws days.
You can't do really anything to deal with the drop of honey, though. You just have to exhaust it over time.
Deathrite Shaman will go ahead and take care of the life from the loam. Fair enough. But he's going to lose his creatures here, and then we'll have to rebuild.
Yep.
Scalding Tarn from Bernal. He'll hit for 0. Mazavith keeps the attack back at home.
Yep. Yeah, Dilks still at a very comfortable 18.
Drop of Honey will shoot down Deathrite Shaman for Matthew Dilks. Still naturally drawing off the top of the deck. Now doesn't really have a choice because that life from the loam was exiled.
Right.
Matthew's not doing much right now. But he isn't losing.
He has successfully checked everything that Joe has done.
Yeah, Joe drawing a Force of Will. He will ponder. Mentioned before, Joe really can't deploy more threats. He needs to both put threats on top of his deck and not cast them.
The best way that this can progress for Joe is you wear out the Drop of Honey, you let the Insectile Aberration die, and you find a true name Nemesis. That way that can't get Mazavithed. A Wasteland kind of does the job as well, and you can start producing different creatures, though the true name forces very specific reaction from Matthew, and Matthew's not doing much of anything, so it's unlikely that he has more answers for that kind of thing.
Yeah, when that last Insectile Aberration is destroyed, the Drop of Honey will be put into the graveyard. It leaves when there are no creatures. It's just time passing here.
Mm-hmm. Joe's starting to he picked up a Brainstorm off of the Ponder there. He does have that uncracked fetch land, so we'll see how he sequences it. If he wants more of those Ponder cards, he can draw them and then start looking at things with the Brainstorm, or he can shuffle first and then Brainstorm into a fresh set.
Drop of Honey has reset, and Matthew continues to draw things that don't tap for mana. He now picked up a Tireless Tracker.
Yeah, pretty gross set of draws there.
Well, here's Thespian Stage. Hold on. That's not the draw for this turn. He may have just had it for a while.
And Matthew pretty close to making a 20-20.
Yeah, there's not a Wasteland in play.
And Joe hasn't seen anything that deals with this kind of thing. I know that Ponder was a bunch of blue spells, and he's cracking that Scalding Tarn. He wants to look at some fresh cards.
Outside of Wasteland, does he have much that deals with it?
Pithing Needle.
Okay.
Yeah, he's drawing slim.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, there's no edicts in the 75 for Joe this weekend, so we can't deal with a 20-20 outright. Nothing like block with Baleful Strix into Jace the Mind Sculptor, neither are those cards in the deck either, though typically you wouldn't see that in Grixis Delver. So that much makes sense. So the edicts are notably absent from this archetype. Fresh draw for Joe. Spell Pierce. That does nothing. And he's just priced into Brainstorming. And he's Brainstorming here from a position where he has no fetch lands and he has nothing going on, no pressure on the battlefield. He's desperate to find something really good here. He found a Gurmag Angler, which just runs into that Mazavith. That's not going to advance in any meaningful way. He's just hanging on counterspells and hoping that Matthew Dilks does not draw a mana-producing land. He can check a Mox Diamond. He would have to Force of Will or Spell Pierce that. I guess he can't Spell Pierce. He gets Spell Pierce plus Daze, a little build your own Force of Will. But just land kind of colds him.
Well, Matthew's draw was Life from the Loam. He'll go over that. Now, the Daze actually covers it pretty well.
Yeah, Joe can counter that for a number of turns.
Yeah. And result here over in Modern, Matthew Hoey, even post-sideboard, gets the second one. 2-0, defeats Edgar Magalhaes.
No surprises there.
No, it's you expect that result. Kind of in the same way we expect Dilks to get this one.
Yes. And this is interesting here for Joe. He pretty well has the Loam covered. It's suspicious if he doesn't exile with the Deathrite Shaman, though.
Yeah.
And he's just going to go ahead and eat it. That makes sense. Unclear what Matthew actually does if you just let him dredge the Loam. He might just choose not to, because you're definitely suggesting that you have more counterspells. And that means that Dilks is definitely not producing the land if he's dredging.
Another land here from Bernal. Remember, there is that Price of Progress in Joe Bernal's hand. Matthew knows about it.
Uh-oh.
Wasteland makes 20-20. Joe picks up the cards.
He's not going to mess around.
All right.
They've seen deck lists.
2-0 for lands, 2-0 for Storm. The swinging matchups go in the direction we expect, which means it's going to come down to Tarek Patel. Last round, his teammates carried him. This round, he's going to have to help them.
Yeah. Previously, Tarek was playing a miserable matchup. In a mirror, he's up a game. He's got to have fine odds. We'll find out if we have to go to a deciding game 3 here. This is the one match that has a lot more leeway to go either way.
Right, so Tenjum needs both wins. Now, says Bernal did not get that one. Go over to the Grixis mirror here. They're in post-board games. Sideboard here are actually somewhat different for the players. Joining this one early. We have, on Tenjum's side, some Gonti, a large amount of negate, no duress.
And I like negate a fair amount better than duress in the matchup. The information from duress is actually pretty valuable. The take from it, less so.
Yeah. Big thing here, though. Arkwell's Bloodfast resolving for Tarek, and it's on the table. It resolved. So you mentioned about Grixis. They don't get rid of enchantments very well. So now, when Andrew can't answer it, it turns into a mid-range fight. He says, well, I can't answer Bloodfast, but I can cast a Scarab God.
Scarab God is mighty powerful.
Yeah, can you kill it?
Patel's mana is not great here.
Yeah, he could, to draw a card, he would have had to spend his last energy. He chooses not to because he's got Vraska's Contempt in hand, and he just has to cast that.
And it doesn't look like he has a land drop either.
I agree. So Scarab God goes away. Patel gains 2 up to 22, first life point change. But yeah, no land just passes. Andrew's going to continue to jam creatures into the board. Here's 6. And is this just another Scarab God? I think it is.
Yikes. Now Patel's in trouble.
You can't let someone untap with this.
No.
The Bloodfast doesn't matter anymore.
And it looks like Patel has a Whirler Virtuoso in graveyard.
Yep.
That's bad news.
Yeah, there's a creature in a graveyard.
Yeah.
Watch out.
It's even a pretty good one.
Is there anything he can hit off the Bloodfast to make this matter?
2 or 3 mana answers the Scarab God. You're not really going to see that.
Harness Lightning can be sometimes.
You
not
need
here.
more than 0 energy.
Yeah, he'll tap, go to 20, draw off Bloodfast.
And the Bloodfast is fine, but Patel's only checking that box. His colored mana is not distributed in a very meaningful way. He's behind on land drops. He's behind on the Scarab God.
He did draw Vraska's Contempt, but there's going to be mana in play next turn. And now we get to have this part where we see in a mid-range mirror if you can ever beat a Scarab God that untaps. And
Patel is out of energy, and the land was Spirebluff Canal. So he needs to find another black source to Contempt, or a source of energy that does not expend his black mana. He has a Glintleaf Siphoner. That's not going to be fast enough.
Tenjum uses Scarab God on the Whirler Virtuoso, gets 3 energy. It's going to upkeep Scry 1 and drain 1.
And this is going to close pretty quickly. You see some life loss from the activation there. You're going to see some jamming with the Scarab God. That's going to close it in just a few short turns. Scarab God turning sideways. Patel taking the hit. If he doesn't find untapped black mana this turn, the game might just be over.
Chandra Torch of Defiance deals almost 5.
A little bit shy.
Yeah.
I mean, you can use it to deal with the
kill
Virtuoso.
most of the Scarab God.
Yeah. For now.
Well, that's one of the root scary things about these mid-range decks is just getting to play Scarab God is such a powerful card.
Yes. Yeah,
it can invalidate a lot of the rest of the game. If one player has one and the other one doesn't, the other things surrounding, these Bloodfasts, these land counts, whatever.
Right, and we keep saying it, but the Scarab God figures to just be the best card in Standard.
Yes.
Your deck
it's for this reason.
Yeah, your deck can't be that bad if you're playing the best card, and the peripheral's pretty powerful here. Though Patel just has really bad mana woes in this game.
On our other semifinal, over on Modern, we have Xander Regal, a 2-1 winner over Mitchell Sachs. Both his teammates are also up a game. It's looking like that 8 seed might just make it to the finals.
Yeah. I like their decks.
You got Grixis and blue-black and Bernal. All the decks are encompassed in Grixis. Here is Chandra from Tarek. And Magma Sprays can try to finish off Scarab God 4 and 2. He's really hoping there's not a negate.
Yeah, well, he's leading on the spray. You know, he resolved the Chandra.
Yeah. It's going to work. Yeah, Scarab God's gone. He did it.
Okay.
For now. I mean, it's not good. There was two. Andrew did get value off the Scarab God for 1 turn.
Right, and it's a Virtuoso, so the Stopper can freely clean up the rest of the Chandra.
Yeah. Andrew will get to throw the 4 damage upstairs. And he has free reign with untapped lands and a tapped out opponent. A lot to like here. 1 and 4. Patel down to 10. Looks like of the remaining cards in Tenjum's hand, Torrential Gearhulk factors in among them. He'll pass, leaving up Gearhulk with that Essence Scatter. And we're back to Patel. The Essence Scatter looks to be good. You see kind of the ways Patel can stabilize. One of them is a sideboard Glyph Keeper. If he goes for that play, he's going to get...
He'll be
He'll
dead.
be blown out. Yeah, he'll be dead.
That's just the game. The Gearhulk becomes lethal.
10. Yeah.
5+5.
Tap off this Glyph Keeper, you lose.
Patel's hand is not really functional, though. I mean, he can lose to 5+5 in 1 turn or 5+5 over 2 turns, right?
Teammate Magalhaes suggests the Glyph Keeper play. Well, that's a losing line. I don't know if there's a winning line.
No. His other lines seem to involve chump blocking and hoping to convert some situational counter spells.
So what about Siphoner to block, negate up? None of these look great.
Siphoner sets you up with a chump block on the Virtuoso, and then you'll have double black for contempt next turn.
I guess. Does that get you anywhere?
It looks like the better line, as it does not just lose on the spot. With this mana up as well, not clear that Tenjum would bite or not on the Torrential Gearhulk.
Yeah,
it's actually a decision.
Won't. Patel says go. Tenjum end step. Magma sprays away the Siphoner. Okay. That might even be good enough to get a negate. It's gross. In this matchup, you hate to be negating a Magma Spray.
Yeah, I mean, this is just kind of a burn spell. This is like a lava spike.
Yeah.
You're just clearing out the blocker for the Virtuoso. Yeah, I don't think that either player really cared about that Magma Spray.
Go back over to Tenjum. 8th land, swings for 5, puts Tarek down to 5. Bloodfast transform. Yeah, so now down to 5. On upkeep, that Bloodfast will transform into the Temple of Akhlazats. It doesn't really matter too much. It gives him more mana, and I think Tarek's pretty happy with mana.
Yeah, the extra mana, pretty good here. Could potentially fight a counter war now.
Did draw a card off it to go down to 3 first. Now draws Commit to Memory.
3 and 4 not very, or 3 and 5 rather, not terribly different here. You do have 5 power on the other side of the battlefield. You need to just find something that cleanly deals with that Virtuoso, whether it be a larger creature or just being able to resolve a removal spell. He's had that Vraska's Contempt for a little bit here. Goes for Glyph Keeper. This is going to force action from Tenjum.
Glyph Keeper's the play. Essence Scatter from Tenjum. It's not the one that was in the graveyard and negate. Tenjum negates back, and that will be game. Andrew, Tenjum evens things up 1 game apiece, and now it's going to come down to a deciding game 3 between the two. The winning team will go to the finals. Players are going to recheck their sideboards as they get ready for the decider. We will be back in a couple minutes with the conclusion of the round. Game number 3 to send their team to the finals. Andrew Tenjum and Tarek Patel, both on Grixis Energy. And now we know their opponents. The team that knocked out BCW picks up another win. Bobby Colgrove, Xander Regal, and Eric Rose await the winners.
And the Grixis mirror to decide it all. This
As it was meant to be.
Just some good, honest magic here. I will say this Grixis Energy Mirror, compared to a lot of historic Grixis mirrors, this one's just really a slugfest where there's a lot of 1-for-1 happening.
Yeah, there's not much sweeper or, snapcaster. The real things that break 1-for-1 are Argwell's Bloodfest and Torrential Gearhulk. And I suppose also Torrential Gearhulk, Argwell's Bloodfast, Glintsleeve Siphoner, and Scarab God.
Yeah, the best tools are kind of inelegant. Argwell's Bloodfast is just this hammer. And if you have it on turn 2, you're probably going to pull ahead.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I was kind of commenting on this. Standard's gotten to a somewhat dishonest place right now where, okay, we see Derek Patel's playing 2 Argwell's Bloodfast in the main.
Mm-hmm.
We saw earlier on, we have this white approach deck, Travis Lero's deck, where that deck's not honest at all about beating mono red. He has 5 cards in his deck that do something to the board before turn 4. And everyone's been doing that right now, and as a result, we're getting kind of these games like this where Bloodfast is really important, where Treasure Map is just key. And, part of me wants to say, like, I want to see mountains come in and wreck this party.
Sure. Mono red is weak to a good amount of stuff that's happening. And this specific Grixis list, you're right. The Bloodfast in the main. Burn's going to run over that. But we also see some main deck Moment of Cravings in some of these decks.
Yeah, that's fine.
Whirler Virtuoso is a nightmare.
He has main deck Revolutionary Rebuff. Like, red's a thing. Come on now.
Yeah, that counters Hazoret.
Here's Glintsleeve Siphoner from Patel, turn 2 on the play.
I think Rebuff's actually better against red than it is in the Grixis Mirror because it can't counter Torrential Gearhulk.
What about Commit to Memory main?
I almost had a Revolutionary Rebuff in some deck, and then I played against a Gearhulk Mirror, and I was very upset.
Both players trading some value 2s. It's going to be a search for Escanta from Andrew Tenjum. And now Tarek, turn 3, will fire off a Duress. He sees, well, the only card he can take is Negate. The other cards are lands 2, land 3, 3, 4, 5, Gonti, and Scarab God.
Bunch of lands, a 2-for-1 creature, and a creature that threatens to win the game on its own. Pretty good holdings.
There's not really a clean way to get rid of Gonti in this matchup. It's just going to be a 2-for-1.
Yeah, you got to counter it on the way down. And Gonti is scary because there's a lot of different things that could be under the Gonti. When it's one of your counter spells, it's a nightmare. When it's your Gearhulk, that's just like the worst case scenario. Yeah.
Swing in for 2 from the Virtuoso. Whoa. For the Siphoner, I meant. There's no third land here, Ryan.
Yikes.
Gearhulk in the bin for Tenjum. Draws. He really would like to find a removal spell for this Siphoner.
Yes.
Patel will get a bonus land this next turn. Did he do it? Uh-oh. No, he didn't. He said a magma spray? No, I didn't drop, man.
Hey, having a little fun.
Patel draws 1, draws 2. Is he going to miss the land anyway?
Nope.
Oh, he hits it on the second one. No, that dodged the magma spray. Swings in for 2, gets an energy. Plays it, says go now. But there's still pressure right on Essence Scatter to counter this Gonti. There's no red mana in play at all yet for Patel.
The holdings look to be blue and black. That mostly seems fine, but you're right. It will become an issue at some point.
Here's 4. Tenjum will go for the Gonti. Does Patel have the Essence Scatter? No.
And you almost need 2 because you want to make sure you cover the Scarab God.
I mean, yeah, if you only had 1, I don't think you'd save it here. You wouldn't be like, gotta save it for Scarab God, Gonti resolves. Like,
I would.
You would?
The Scarab God's unbeatable.
Guess. I don't know. Is this beatable?
I'm pretty sure this is a 2-3. I think this is
I'll
beatable.
I'll just have to top deck the next test. I'll cast my first, and then I'll draw the next one.
You've played against the Scarab God, right?
I'm going to draw Disallow or Essence Scatter next turn with my nice untapped land. It'll be fine.
It was a yes or no question. Have you played against the Scarab God? You're thinking about it. You don't seem to remember. I don't recall.
I don't see why this matters.
I don't recall.
Okay, I think this is a dumb question.
I don't recall having played against the Scarab God. You can't really call it.
Swings in for 2.
You can't really call it magic at that stage of the game. I have picked up my cards in the face of the Scarab God.
Oh, my champion of wits. If we're going to play who can tap out for better cards, Andrew Tenjum is winning that game.
Yes.
Now, Tarek did pick up land 4. It's his first red source. It's an untapped land 4, and he picked up a Vraska's Contempt. So as far as a good draw 2, that was an insane draw 2.
Yes. Yeah, that's really nice. And Tenjum's hand doesn't do much of anything. He does have the Search for Escanta going, though Patel is actually drawing extra cards with the Glint Sleeve Siphoner. We know that Tenjum has at least land 5. He's going that way. He did have to bin a Torrential Gearhulk to try to find an answer for that Siphoner, which he failed to do. So that's actually a significant loss of resource and a big miss.
So if Patel can play defense here, the fact that he's getting extra cards, you think may just really pull him ahead?
Yes.
Now, one thing on Tenjum's side is that he's going to find Escanta pretty soon here. But that's expensive, and it only takes a Field of Ruin to break up. Maybe that doesn't matter.
He's also just taking damage on the battlefield. He's behind in this race because the menace on the Siphoner. And activating Escanta costs a significant chunk of the mana.
Champion put into the graveyard. Another drawn card here for Tenjum. Now up to 4 cards for Escanta.
That's a good one to flip over, too.
Yeah. Actually, there are no Field of Ruin, so when those flips, that just happens.
Yeah, this is a bit different than the blue-black mirror we watched earlier.
Yeah, where just everybody had 100 Field of Ruins.
Yeah, they're pretty free to play on those 2-color mana bases.
And we'll see what was the card that he took. It was Arguel's Bloodfast.
That is powerful. Now, Tenjum doesn't have infinite life to play with. He's still getting slapped around by that Glint Sleeve Siphoner.
Yeah, he is down on life points right now. But he will abrade the Siphoner after playing Bloodfast, play a tapped land 5, and then leaves back Gonti as a blocker. Says go.
Yeah, so he used the window there to sneak under a counterspell with the Bloodfast, and then just had the answer to the Siphoner. That was a big swing in Tenjum's favor.
Patel draws Glyph Keeper, but he is again missing on lands. 4 mana of his own, maybe his own Gonti. It is.
That's a lot better than Contempting the Gonti.
He almost would like to take a land. You can't actually do that.
Yeah. I mean, you can. You just can't play it.
Right.
Yeah.
Scarab God's there. I think it's Scarab God in 3 lands. It's not that tough of a choice.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's Vraska's Contempt Scarab.
I'm into Contempt.
Okay, Contempt is what you grab.
You kind of don't want to get a Scarab God and cast it.
Okay,
If Tenjum can cause it to go in the graveyard, say with a Harness Lightning, then Tenjum has your Scarab God.
Contempt is all upside here.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
You already know that Tenjum has at least 1 Scarab God in hand. Access to Contempt is going to be pretty powerful.
That would be his 3rd one. He has 2 in hand.
I mean, the card's just good in the matchup. Just good in Standard, really.
Milling card 6 does Tenjum. 1 away from finding Escanta. Plays land 6. A lot of options. Bloodfast, also online. Now, I don't know how much he wants to tap mana for it. Unlike those blue-black mirrors where Bloodfast drew 8 cards every time, Grixis does some damage.
And you definitely want to be conservative on how often you do this at sorcery speed.
Yeah, sorcery speed down to 12. Draws.
You kind of want to use this window to maybe get some more creatures on the battlefield. If you could produce a Whirler Virtuoso here and get under Essence Scatter mana, that'd be pretty significant, as Patel was tapped low. Tenjum pulling ahead in terms of lands over time. He's going to be pulling ahead on cards.
Contempt here from Patel. It did feel like Patel was up cards and down lands, and so it was an interesting dynamic. Tenjum getting Arguel's Bloodfast off that really has changed it. Now he's kind of just ahead on everything.
Yeah.
Not yet ahead on life points, but that'll come.
And you see Patel getting aggressive, and that makes sense. When you fall behind on lands, you have to do this. He goes for the Contempt on the Gonti just to shove.
Okay, so then Tenjum draws some cards, goes to a card with Bloodfast, goes to 10. This shove would put him down to 6. We're getting to a pretty real place here.
And we'll find out if there's a removal spell in the holdings just yet.
I guess, actually, if that Bloodfast transforms, that's a good thing for Tenjum. It allows him to start casting his Scarab God.
Yeah, you won't be able to draw more cards, which is downside, but he won't lose the game.
Yeah, well, he also can protect it then from all these Vraska's Contempts.
Yeah.
And Tarek goes in Contempt, you say, all right, gain 5, put it in my yard, put it back in my hand, we're going to do it again.
Yep. Patel's very far off of casting 2 in 1 turn.
Right, land 5. He only swings the 2 with Champion.
It's possible he's navigating around Tenjum transforming that blood fast and leveraging that mana.
Oh, hey, he doesn't actually want him. I guess because if he swings Tenjum to 6, then Tenjum can tap the last 2 lands, go to 4, and transform it. And
Yeah.
that's neat.
That makes sense. I like it.
Yeah, at first it was like, why wouldn't you swing? Like, wait.
Yeah, that's neat.
These guys have played this matchup some.
They certainly had to in this field.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah. And Tenjum's declining that extra card.
Yeah. This is this life management problem is really interesting. And not going to mill. He does not transform his search for Azcanta.
Yeah, found Vraska's Contempt. Pretty nice answer to Champion
Yeah.
of Wits.
I like that one.
Excellent. Exiling that, I always welcome. Gaining life in this spot. Very good. Drowned Catacomb. Tenjum going to continue to make land drops. Ever important in the Grixis mirror. Especially when you're leveraging things like Bloodfast. Tenjum decides on casting the Scarab God. He has 2 mana up. Maybe blocks for that with a negate here. Ugh. And for Patel, Torrential Gearhulk, uncastable on just 5 lands and missing the 6th land drop. It's not a lot of decks where you miss out your 6th land drop and you feel like you're really constrained on mana, but this is one of them.
Yeah. Well, and you just have cards like Bloodfast in the deck. Lands don't stop being good.
And his hand's just full of 4, 5s, and 6s, too.
Right? Like, Andrew's up to 8 lands, and that's just great.
Yeah.
Does make Scarab God here.
And Patel was even navigating in a way to deny Tenjum, you know, a 9th mana source or whatever.
Sure. Vraska's Contempt in hand for Tarek. Also, there's the one under the Gonti. But both players know that. Andrew's bullying with extra mana here.
Yes.
Patel's going to go for the Contempt anyway. Might as well.
You can't just not cast your spells.
Yeah. Here is Vraska's Contempt, targeting Scarab God. Is Andrew ready for this? Apparently it's fine with it getting exiled. Tarek gains 2.
Yeah. It's another Bloodfast card.
Yeah, you just replace it.
I suppose Tarek does not have one of those yet.
Yeah, so now the question is, now they seem like they're okay putting Tenjum to 6 and letting him transform. If that's true, you might as well put him to 4.
Yes. Not attacking here at all seems nuts.
If you're doing that, then what? You're waiting until you have 8 damage in one swing? That's the statement?
With the mana constraints, yeah, I think you just got to shove here. It was
All right,
cute the
there it
first
is.
time. It would have been wrong this time.
Tenjum at 4. We'll see if Tenjum puts himself to 2. That might be a little much. Not going to do that. He'll stay at 4.
Yeah, going to 2 against 2 2-power creatures, that's dicey.
And let's see. Bloodfast and search triggers. Search for Azcanta will happen first. He tapped the order. He puts them on the stack and is resolving them in the other order. It's
Yep.
Scry 1. Bins Torrential Gearhulk and transforms. He now has Azcanta the Sunken Ruin. That's going to be here for the rest of the game. Argwell's Bloodfast also transforming into the Temple of Aklazats.
I'm a bit concerned that my opponent is passing on a Torrential Gearhulk.
Oh, is that so?
I feel like Tenjum's holdings must be pretty dang good. Or they're so bad that the Gearhulk doesn't
That I've
clean it
already
up
won.
on its own. Yeah.
I don't think that's the case.
He's definitely reaching for a lot of mana.
5 sounds like feels like it might be a Scarab God, and it is. Here's the Scarab God. Oh, he has 10 mana. hold on, Ryan. He can activate Scarab God, get back Torrential Gearhulk, and still sacrifice it to the Temple of Magalhaes.
Yikes.
We talked about how these extra mana was being used to bully. This is really strong.
And Tenjum also has the Scarab God, the Gearhulk in graveyard that he milled way earlier in the game.
Right.
Yeah, he's able to put a lot of pressure with this Scarab God.
Glyph Keeper's here for Patel, and maybe that's their out. They're just going to try to make Glyph Keeper and just hope that this very hard to answer flyer deals enough damage.
That just runs into Gearhulk Essence Scatter.
Yes. Patel will pass. Tenjum's going to use his Scarab God. Targets Champion of Wits.
That is powerful.
Great.
Draw 4, discard 2. Do you have the disallow? Does it matter?
It just allows, okay, he'll just untap.
Yeah.
Then he'll have this 9 mana, and he'll start targeting more things.
Yes. This got really scary on Tenjum's side really quickly.
Yeah. Brings back Torrential Gearhulk, eternalizes it. That's going to target a Braid. A Braid will shoot Gonti.
Sure.
Yeah, things are happening. And still on, now on end step, he's playing on the Scarab God triggers. Looks like it'll be a Vraska's Contempt on Scarab God. Andrew will sacrifice it to the temple. Gains 5, goes to 9, and we'll get Scarab God back at the end of the next turn.
Yes.
But Andrew has so much mana, he also can start using this as Kanta.
Yes. Yeah, huge mana advantage. He's able to leverage that Scarab God very effectively when he gets it back going in the next turn. Gets access to extra cards, gets to protect the Scarab God with the Alkazats.
Yeah, we see here 5 mana tapped from Tenjum is Liliana Death's Majesty.
Jeez, it just keeps getting worse.
Yeah. It's going to go ahead and bring back the Scarab God.
I'm not going to wait.
Okay.
Yeah, this is here now.
Oh my.
Still have that other Torrential Gearhulk.
Yeah. Passes and no more lands. Tarek extends the hand. So a well-fought match in Legacy from Matthew Dilks, but it is not going to be enough. Their team will end their run in the semis. And for the team of Bernal, Hoey, and Tenjum, that will pick up the